was in the big red one over there.
I was in the big red one too.
Oh yeah?
In Vietnam, yeah.
Hey!
So how you like that, huh?
Brothers.
Yeah.
Wreaths Across America is so excited that in spite of the COVID conditions all over the country that our almost 3 million volunteers have stepped up. We'll be placing wreaths on the end of the week up until the 19th, which is Wreaths Across America Day, on 2,525 locations, cemeteries all over the country. And we do that with the help of the volunteers. We're a national organization with a heartbeat in every state as volunteers make sure that local veterans are honored in every community.
We are headed from here, trying to get in front of the impending storm. Our next route is to get across the George Washington Bridge. Fingers crossed, the snow will come through tonight. We'll be able to get back on the road tomorrow morning and continue way down to DC.
Branford volunteered and donated from Walmart, Big Y, Stop and Shop, and Costco. And these are from Jersey Mike's. The town of Branford is awesome.
I will say that this is my 29th trip to Arlington this year. Started in 1992. Started with just 12 volunteers back 29 years ago. And today there's about 3 million across the whole United States.
Wow.
So we're just happy to be part of it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Thank you so very, very much for your support and overwhelming display of patriotism. We are honored to have this convoy back in our town. We are extremely proud to be on this Wreaths Across America convoy, taking the wreaths from Maine to Arlington National Cemetery. As veterans, we are privileged to be part of the Wreaths Across America organization, whose mission is to remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and to teach the next generation about the sacrifices made to preserve our freedoms. Freedom is not free. I want to thank Chief Mahoney and the Branford Fire Department for hosting this event this year. I want to thank Chief Halloran and the Branford Police Department for their support. Overwhelming, great job. To the collective group of first responders, we are grateful for all you do to ensure the safety of our families and our communities. Thank you very much.
Please rise for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem.
On your commands.
of Allegiance and the invocation. I'd like to ask a 7th grader from East Shore Catholic Academy to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Emily Agami.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to introduce Reverend Sharon Grayson for the invocation.
It is my great privilege to serve as the chaplain for the fire department. And in the many ways we clergy are called upon to serve our community. And when Dottie called and asked if I would offer the invocation for this moment, I was honored, and I asked her if there was anything in particular she would like me to touch on. And she said, no, we trust you to do what's right, but just make sure you wear that red coat. And so I responded in the only way that all of us can when Dottie asks us to do something. Yes, ma'am. And let us pray. God of all creation, we ask your blessing on this journey of honor and remembrance, carrying wreaths, a symbol of eternity, an unbroken circle, to remind us that all who have passed from this life into larger life are not gone, only gone from our sight. They leave behind their legacy of service, courage, and sacrifice. In this season of giving, we give to them the assurance of our gratitude and a pledge of faithfulness that they will not be forgotten, and that the grand ideals on which this nation was founded will be upheld in their name and for the generations yet to come. May they rest in the eternal blessing of your peace. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Please be seated.
Welcome to Branford's Wreaths Across America ceremony for 2018. Each December, a convoy of tractor-trailer trucks and volunteer vehicles, this year sponsored by Chevy, begins the week-long convoy from Maine to Washington, D.C., culminating in wreath-laying ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery on National Wreaths Day, Wreaths Across America Day. In addition, similar ceremonies are held in over 1,400 locations in all 50 states, at sea and abroad. This year, December 15th has been designated as Wreaths Across America Day. The mission of Wreaths Across America is to remember the fallen, honor those who serve and their families, and teach future generations about the sacrifices made to preserve our freedom. Last year, more than 1,560 wreaths were placed at 1,422 participating locations. Over 90,000 volunteers placed these wreaths, and of that, 30,000 were children. The motto for this year's campaign is Be Their Witness. This year's motto was inspired by a 2009 drama called Taking Chance, a chronicle of United States Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel Michael Strobel, who had escorted the body of Private First Class Chance Phelps from Iraq to his hometown in Wyoming. Lieutenant Colonel Strobel volunteered to be a witness for PFC Phelps and became responsible for his legacy. I'd now like to introduce our guests of honor. You've already met Chief Bold and Commander Packer. Behind me also is the founder of Wreaths Across America, Maura Worcester. Executive Director of Wreaths Across America, Karen Worcester. Chairman of the Wreaths Across America Board, Wayne Hansen. Wreaths Across America Board member, Ann Hansen. Grand Marshal of this year's convoy, Becky Christmas. And Branford First Selectman, Jamie Cosgrove. Blue Star families are families who currently have family members serving on active duty. Would all Blue Star families present here today please rise and be recognized? Gold Star families are those families who have lost family members while serving on active duty. We honor these families and we thank them for their sacrifices. Would all Gold Star families present please rise and be recognized? And now I'd like to introduce Branford First Selectman Jamie Cosgrove for opening comments.
On behalf of the town, welcome to Wreaths Across America and all of those who are participating and observing today's ceremony. I want to thank the veterans and those who are currently serving. Those are here today and those who are not with us but across the world protecting our freedoms. And to the Blue Star families and the Gold Star families, our thoughts and prayers are with you. When I first learned about Wreaths Across America a few years ago, their mission had an immediate impact on me. Remember, honor, and teach. As stated before, remember our fallen U.S. veterans, honor those who serve, and teach the children the value of freedom. Reflecting on those three words, I soon discovered it's really a profound statement. For each action is only successful by depending on the other actions as part of that mission. Mr. and Mrs. Worcester, Wreaths Across America organization, Grand Marshal Christmas, and the Blue Star families and Gold Star families, Branford is proud to support this mission. And as a community, we will continue to remember, honor, and teach. Thank you.
Remember, the first part of the mission statement. We remember the fallen. From the Revolutionary War to present Afghanistan, Iraq, and faraway locations, America's sons and daughters, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers have answered the call of the nation. And as in every conflict, there are those that do not return. It is those heroes that we remember. I'd like to now introduce Corporal Jack Doherty, United States Marine Corps retired, who will conduct the missing man ceremony.
I'd like to describe the table to your right, a little small table. There are many military here, current and veterans. There are Gold Star mothers, Blue Star mothers. They're familiar with this table. already, but there are many that are not in that group, or those groups, so I'd like to describe it. Each item on the table has a significance. The empty place represents either a servicewoman or serviceman that's no longer with us, but they are with us in spirit. The women and men of our military were very young when they were sent to war by our nation. Because they had before them their entire lives to live, all Americans should never forget our brave women and men who answered our nation's call and served the cause of freedom. As we begin this most solemn of ceremonies, please consider the sacrifices of both our military and their loved ones. Also, with the advent of far too many suicides in recent times, let us agree to increase our awareness of and maintain a heightened vigilance for that silent killer, PTSD. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our military that are missing from this celebration. Remember, the cloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. Remember. The single red rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the life of each missing servicewoman, serviceman, and their loved ones and friends who have wept for them. Remember. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, a symbol of our continued determination to support all our military deployed in harm's way. Remember. A slice of lemon on the plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of our fallen and wounded servicemen and women. Remember. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the families of those servicewomen and men wounded or killed in action. Remember. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, which was founded as one nation under God. Remember. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share with us any kind of a toast. Remember. The chair is empty. The serviceman is missing. Remember. I'd like to close with a moment of silence. Thank you.
Our next speaker is the National President of the American Gold Star Mothers and this year's Convoy Parade Marshal. It is my privilege and honor to introduce to you Becky Christmas.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to see all of you here this afternoon. I became a Gold Star mother on November 29th, 2004, when my son, Captain Todd Christmas, perished in a Black Hawk helicopter crash outside of Fort Hood, Texas. At the time, I really didn't know what a Gold Star mother was. But I had a Blue Star mother that continued to call me, to check on me, and encourage me to look at the organization of American Gold Star Mothers. And I can tell you that the day I joined this organization of American Gold Star Mothers, it changed my life. It gave me a positive mission. Because as our founder said not more than 90 years ago, grief held within can be destructive, and that is true. And the mission of American Gold Star Mothers is to support veterans, the families of the fallen, and our active military. We are the oldest Gold Star organization. Today, we have Gold Star mothers with us, Gold Star dads, Gold Star wives, and Gold Star family members. We're very proud to have so many of those along on this journey, along with our veterans who are volunteering for this journey. Grace Starling Seibold was the founder of American Gold Star Mothers, and she lost her son, George, in World War I. When his letters quit coming, she started visiting the hospitals in the DC area to see if she could find news of her son. She realized that with her work of looking for her son or some information about him, she was visiting with those that were wounded and in the hospitals, and she was making a difference, and it helped her also. And later she found out that George had perished in an airplane crash in France. So her mission continued, and she gathered together some other Gold Star mothers in the DC area, and they continued to volunteer in the VA hospitals. Today, Gold Star mothers across the country volunteer in veterans hospitals, clinics, and in centers. We also support many other organizations with our time and efforts, and one of those is Wreaths Across America. It took one woman with some vision to start this organization of American Gold Star Mothers to help us on our journey with our grief. One woman, and now this organization of American Gold Star Mothers has lasted for over 90 years. It took one man, Morrill Worcester, with the vision to think of laying wreaths on the graves of our veterans. You can read about him on the back of your program, and it's quite a story, but one person made a difference again. We can all make a huge difference if we volunteer, if we take the time to serve, if we take the time to care, to stop and talk to a veteran, ask them about their service, to stop and talk to a Gold Star family member about their fallen hero. It makes a difference, and we can all do that. Gold Star Mothers have volunteered for many years, as I said, and one of the places that they began to volunteer years ago, right after the Vietnam Memorial Wall was built in Washington, D.C., was there in D.C. They began to serve as docents, and they found that those Vietnam veterans who walked up to the wall and sometimes had great difficulty approaching the wall or touching the wall, those mothers, those Gold Star mothers who lost their sons in Vietnam, would quietly walk out and take the hand of the Vietnam veteran whose heart was breaking just seeing those names, those panels on that wall. And they would be the mother to embrace those Vietnam veterans. So those are just some of the things that Gold Star mothers do. And again, one or two mothers taking the time to volunteer at the Vietnam Wall and taking the time to embrace a veteran. My son loved his service in the United States Army. He was proud to serve. I am proud that he served. Our family is a military family, many generations. We were very, very proud of him. He told me that he loved going to work every day. That gives me great comfort. I miss him every minute of every day. However, I am tremendously proud of his service and the service of all of our fallen heroes. Our theme this year for American Gold Star Mothers is Mothers on a Mission, a Powerful Force. I believe we can make a difference. We have over 20 military suicides a day. They say 22. I think there's probably more. We are bringing awareness to this tragedy. Our organization is working hard to make this a focus of our nation. We help support service dogs, which helps tremendously with PTS and TBI. You can get involved in just these types of things as a volunteer, one person making a difference. I have 3 mothers who are on our American Gold Star Mothers National Board with me on this journey. This is my first time to be on this wonderful, meaningful, magical trip. And I have 3 mothers with me, 2 of whom have been along with me on this trip before. The first Vice President of American Gold Star Mothers is Mona Gunn, and I'd like to ask her to stand. Mona's son, Sharon, was killed on the USS Cole. And for those of you that may not know about the USS Cole, I hope you'll look that up. It was before 9/11, and 17 sailors perished on the USS Cole in a terrorist attack. Our National Secretary is Pam Stemple from Colorado. Pam's son, Thomas, perished only 2.5 years ago. And our National Sergeant at Arms is Lorna Harris from Maine. Lorna's son, Dustin, died serving our country, killed in action in Iraq. These women give me strength among all the other Gold Star mothers that I have met along my journey. I want you to know I'm just a mom. I'm just a mother from a little village in northeastern New Mexico. I live way out in the country. I never thought that I would be in this position, of course, but I feel strongly that I do make a difference, sometimes just by continuing to move forward, and maybe other Gold Star mothers and Gold Star family members see that I can move forward, and maybe that example helps. Or maybe somebody will see that I traveled all the way from New Mexico to join this great mission of Wreaths Across America. Maybe they'll read about that. Maybe they'll see that a mother from a small place that nobody's really heard of came and made a difference. Maybe they'll see some of you in a picture laying a wreath and saying, maybe I should get involved in that. Just yesterday, as we were pulling out of the parking lot, a lady came up to the window of our car and said, "How can I help? What can I do?" We told her, get on the website, you can volunteer, you can join this next year. It means so much. You can do it. One person can make a huge difference in many, many ways. I thank you for being here. May God bless all of you and may God bless America.
We will now have a musical selection from the Branford High School Music Makers. Honor. The second part of the mission is honor. We honor those who served, currently served, and their families. We honor our fallen by placing wreaths on their graves. Later in the ceremony, the service wreaths you see here will be presented to members of the Walter DeMarzick Memorial Veterans of Foreign War Post 12106. Last year was the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Last year at this same ceremony, Post 12106 received the wreaths on behalf of Wreaths Across America. We took those wreaths and we placed them on graves of Branford local residents who were KIA in Vietnam, but buried locally, and we were able to honor those. This year, our mission is going to be to locate and identify Korean War veterans, again, local veterans who have been were killed in action in Korea and buried locally. And then placing the wreaths on their graves. That's our mission for this year. And again, the Branford High School Music Makers will perform for us one more time. Thank you, Branford Music Makers. As I stated earlier, 2017 marked the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Would all Vietnam veterans in attendance please stand and be recognized? On behalf of all of us here, thank you and welcome home. ...2018 marks the 70th anniversary of the Women's Armed Forces Integrations Act. This act enabled women to serve as permanent regular member of the armed forces in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force. Would all women veterans in attendance please rise and be recognized? And all the women veterans, please come forward for a group photo. Come on up. All the women veterans, come on up. They want a photo. Get on down.
That's true.
We will now have a musical selection by the 102nd Army Band of the Connecticut Army National Guard. In attendance today, we also have the East Shoreline Catholic Academy Choir, who will now perform a selection for us. Teach. The last part of the mission is to teach. Wreaths Across America touches the lives of thousands of school, scout, civic, and religious groups across the country. They are committed to teaching younger generations about the value of their freedoms and the importance of honoring those who have sacrificed so much. Wreaths Across America provides curriculum at the middle school level and below to allow youth to participate in the efforts and to assist educators in this mission. I'd now like to reintroduce Emily Agamy, who will, from the East Shoreline Catholic Academy, who will read her Flag Day essay.
Why do I honor the American flag? Why do I stand every day to pledge allegiance to the flag? I ask myself every morning, what is the purpose of today? Some may say it's to build a better tomorrow. Others may say it's to continue what we started yesterday. I say it's to give back to those who grant us the gift to have another day in a country of true freedom. I believe that our American flag is a reminder that at every moment, brave men and women are standing up for our beliefs in a just and selfless way to keep the burning flame of peace and unity afire. On September 3rd, 1783, the Revolutionary War had ended, and 24,000 patriots had laid down their lives for the betterment of America. On that same day, the American flag was flying over what was now a democracy, free from the rule of a monarchy. From sea to shining sea, she stands tall, reminding us of how we have preserved this country's democracy. Our quilt of unification and kinship has not been stained by hurtful or dark events. We did not let these incidents stain our tight-woven fabric of love for our fellow neighbors at home or abroad. Our quilt of unification and kinship is represented by our glorious and victorious flag. She demonstrates that we are still standing as one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. After harrowing and tragic events such as September 11th, the Civil War, Pearl Harbor, and Iwo Jima, the raising of our flag showed the world that we honor those who are defending and those who have fought, allowing our country to live in freedom from tyranny. It is a hope we have not just for us, but for the world. She shows the world that those who gave their last full measure of devotion will remain embodied by her message for eternity. Thank you, and God bless you.
You see the wreaths here in front of the podium. And you may be asking, what is a veteran's wreath? If you saw the convoy coming in, why does that truck say veteran's wreath on it? What is a veteran's wreath? While I was doing some research for today's program, I came across the meaning and symbolism of each of these wreaths, and I'd like to share that with you. The wreath is a symbol of honor, respect, and victory. Each wreath is made up of 10 balsam bouquets, which represent the 10 special qualities that veterans embody. The qualities are faith, love for each other, strong work ethic and character, honesty and integrity, humility, selflessness and modesty, ambitions and aspirations, optimism for America, concern for the future, pride in their duties, and lastly, hopes and dreams that did not come true but left them with no regrets. These wreaths are evergreens representing longevity and endurance. The red bow represents their sacrifice. The forest scent represents purity and simplicity, and the circular shape represents eternity. When put together, we get these lovely wreaths and a way of honoring our dead. We will now have the presentation of the wreaths. For For United States Army, Elliot Hastings, Specialist 4th Class, U.S. Army, Vietnam, and Commander of VFW Post 12106. For United States Navy, Gary Terziak, Boatswain's Mate 3rd Class, U.S. Navy, Vietnam. For United States Marine Corps, Roy Dunn, Corporal, U.S. Marine Corps, Vietnam. For United States Air Force, Chuck Larkins, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. For United States Coast Guard, Jack Siepel, Specialist 4th Class, United States Army, Vietnam. And for the Merchant Marines, Mike Oliverio, Sergeant 1st Class, United States Army, Vietnam. Receiving the POW MIA wreath, Bill Savastano, Specialist 5th Class, U.S. Army, Vietnam. Receiving for the Branford Fire Department, Chief Thomas Mahoney. There he comes. Receiving for the Branford Police Department, we have Lieutenant John Finkel, Colonel, U.S. Army, Officer Joseph Hurton, Sergeant, U.S. Army, and Officer Mike Loftus, Senior Airman, United States Air Force. And for Branford High School, Mr. Sal Zera. And receiving for the East Shoreline Catholic Academy, School Principal Cheryl Panzo. I now have the pleasure of introducing to you Walsh Intermediate School 5th grader Juliana Barros, who will read her Veterans Day essay.
Imagine fighting in a war and thinking that you might not make it out safe. Imagine every day going to work and thinking that you might not be alive at the end of the day, or thinking that you can get wounded or injured. That's what our brave men and women in our military do for us every day. Think about being in a war and being terrified. Think about not having any good food, or not having a comfortable bed, missing holidays, giving up your birthday, or just overall missing your family and friends. Well, even though people in any branch of the military will get scared at times and go through all the things I just mentioned, they continue to fight their hardest and do their best to protect us. They risk their own lives just to protect our country, and what is so honorable of them is they are not forced to serve for our country, they just choose to. Our military works so hard so we can be safe. Sometimes I see children in some countries on the news that have to run away and hide because they're being attacked every day. Our country doesn't have to worry about being attacked or bombed every day because we have such a wonderful military. Our soldiers do this for all Americans so we can be free and safe. I wish that if I had the chance, I could say thank you and hug each and every person that is serving for our country or someone who has served.
And I also have the added pleasure of introducing, again from Walsh Intermediate School 5th grade, Rihanna DiCarlo, who will read her Veterans Day essay.
Why we should thank veterans. In my opinion, we should thank veterans because they have risked their lives just to give us freedom. They are honored and cherished on this very special day. Veterans sacrifice everything they have, their family, their friends, just to give us the chance to live long, happy lives. Our country is so much better with our veterans because if we didn't have them, what would our country be like today? Would we still have our freedom? Would we still be safe? Even though some of our veterans are no longer with us, they still deserve to be honored and thanked. The ones that are still with us, thank you for your service and everything that you have done for our country. No matter if you've stopped serving or if you still are, thank you.
And now the choir from the East Shoreline Catholic Academy will perform another musical selection for us.
Ah
And now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you the chairman of the Wreaths Across America Board, a Vietnam veteran himself and two-time recipient of the Bronze Star. Please welcome Mr. Wayne Hansen.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. This wonderful fire station that has received us on our way down, if I could, we just came from Worcester, Mass. And I'd like to have a moment of silence if we could, because we know you lost a brother up there just the other day. You guys fight for us every day, the first responders. But if I could have a moment of silence for that young man up in Worcester. Thank you. I do that. My dad was a firefighter in Concord, New Hampshire, and up in Lincoln, Maine, so we kind of tie together. Remember, honor, teach. I don't think we have to worry about the teach aspect here in Branford. These young men and women certainly understand what it is, and in fact, in teaching, young girl over there with her, looks like she had a bad wrist. She taught me some fancy moves when she was doing that first song up here. So when I go back home, I got some moves to show. So she taught me something. Probably some of you don't know, one of the songs they had mentioned Normandy. I don't know if everybody knows it or not, but on December 1st, for the first time, Wreaths Across America was able to cross over the pond and place some 9,387 veterans' wreaths on the markers of our fallen veterans over at Normandy. Those are soldiers and heroes that didn't make it home. They're buried in a foreign land. They don't have people too often. They have millions of visitors that come to the cemetery, and hopefully they stop by, and hopefully they've learned from Wreaths Across America to say the name, because you say that you die twice. You die once when your heart stops beating and you take that last breath, but you die a final time when your name is spoken for the very last time, and then you're forgotten. So we encourage all of our volunteers as we travel around and on Wreath Day all across the country, some 1,600 locations we'll have this year. We tell our volunteers to stop a moment, say that person's name out loud so they continue to live and won't be forgotten. We ask the families to come with the children. I'm the coordinator for Arlington National Cemetery, and I consider Arlington our nation's cemetery because heroes from every state are buried there, but they all don't get visited every time. When there's a funeral, yes, the families are there, but they come from all across the country, and they can't make it back all the time. So we encourage the people to say the names. I say behind every stone there's a story. I ask that as you do your wreath laying and help us here in the localities and the cemeteries close by, take down that name. The internet now exists, and you can do some research on that individual, learn a little bit about him or her. Thank them for their service and sacrifice, because that's what we do. We remember, we honor, and hopefully we teach our next generation that there is a cost to freedom. Freedom is not free. There's a cost. And our Gold Star moms and families and wives and fathers, they know that cost all too well. Hopefully we'll have a day when we don't have to worry about wars and battles where we lose our loved ones. But unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen. So as we continue our journey, I thank you for your support and your feeding us today. Just God bless America, and thank you very much.
With us today are two members from the Quilts of Valor. I'd like to introduce, well, Sue Wright is going to stay down there, President of the Quilts of Valor Foundation, and Jane Doherty, co-coordinator of Connecticut Quilts of Valor.
Thank you so much. It's a distinct pleasure to be here. I've had the distinct honor of being at Arlington for the last 5 years, seen you many a time, and it's great what you do. Love it absolutely, completely. Quilts of Valor is an internet-based foundation. We had our start in 2003 when Catherine Roberts, a mom, nurse midwife, and quilter, was about to deploy her most precious son, Nate, to Iraq. Scary place. Instead of watching the awful news, she turned to her sewing machine and made a quilt. She took it to Bethesda, because in those days she lived in Delaware. John Callerson, a chaplain, presented that quilt to one of our wounded, a young man from the upper Midwest who had lost a leg. And he was totally impressed that someone he did not even know made something for him. Most states have Quilts of Valor groups that are very active. I have two of my quilters here today. Anne Marie and Chuck, would you please come join us out here in front? Sue, I know you're trying to take pictures, but Helen, would you help them, because they're going to need one more pair of hands. We're going to start with this one. Now, Wayne, if you're eagle-eyed, you're going to notice this really cool quilt over here has some green wreathy pieces on it. It might be just perfect for somebody who is affiliated with Wreaths Across America. Who's going to introduce Wayne? Not that he needs a lot of introduction. We're going to show you the back of the quilt. You'll notice that there's lots and lots of good green leaves in there, little spruce things. Anne-Marie, get in there, help him hold that other. Helen can hold a pillowcase, and there's a letter in there that tells you a little bit about our story. You may want to step back just a scooge, Wayne, because this is got a top and a bottom. So let Chuck take the top, because he's nice and tall. There you go. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, turn it around. Wayne, back up to the quilt and look out at everybody. And you two do what you do so very, very well. This is how a Quilt of Valor is installed. You gotta hug everybody, Wayne. You could tuck that lady in beside her. In the 15 years that we've been doing this, we have had the pleasure and honor of wrapping over 200,000 of our service people and veterans. And through that, the fabric industry has said, what would you like to see? So that 15 years ago, you wouldn't have found a panel like you have on there with a Liberty Bell and an eagle. You also would not have found the stitching, so that when you have a chance to look at that, your quilt from the front, you'll be able to read, because unfortunately you're as old as I am, so you read cursive. And you'll see the message on the quilt that says, your service, our freedom. Yeah, thank you. Pam, do you know where the other recipient is? Can you grab him? Where's the other wing? Okay, you folks, we have another recipient. While you take this other quilt out, we tuck these in, because the quilt inspectors at my house are four-legged, two are black, one is gray, and this keeps some of the fur on the outside. Now then, you're Air Force, we understand, and we thought this quilt might look like flying over the fields of a wonderful agricultural area. And look at all the detail down there. Oop, there's a pin left. You got a bonus. Okay. What's the next one? Okay, because Hang on to your quilts, guys. If you would stand together so people can take pictures of your smiling faces and the quilts. Anne-Marie, get in there. You're the quilt maker. Wayne Hanson, Chuck is your quilt maker, and Wayne Merritt, Anne-Marie is your quilt maker. Now then, gentlemen, with the two Waynes, please turn around and look at me. Yeah, gentlemen, these come with threads attached. You have very strict orders, finger shaking orders that come with these quilts. They go in your favorite place. You are to use them. You can use the pillowcase to get them home, but once they're home, they get installed in your favorite places. The folks you love, be they tall or small, are allowed on or under your quilts with you, as are four-leggeds. And if you are sharing your snack with your quilt because your favorite team did something stupid, they've been washed before they came to you. Toss them in the washing machine, cold water, and get them back in use. Use your quilts, and look out, here I come.
Thank you, Jane and Quilts of Valor. The Fife and Drum Corps from the East Shoreline Catholic Academy will now perform a musical number for us. Wreaths Across America would not exist without the original idea and the continued efforts of two very special people. Please join me in welcoming the founders of Wreaths Across America, Merrill and Karen Worcester.
You know, she's scared to death that I'll say something wrong. It's been that way. We've been doing this for 27 years. She's still scared.
I just want to give a disclaimer that he's tired and he's elderly, and so please just let it go.
Anyway, back, there's a thing in this little program, you know, on the back, and it wasn't quite that way. This is kind of the polished up version. What actually happened, I had the wreaths left over. We were building the factory up in Topsfield, Maine, about 80 miles away from where we live. And I had a couple carpenters that were finishing the factory up. And we always need a few extra wreaths, you know, so I was just crazy enough to give a checkbook to these two carpenters. And I forgot that I gave them a checkbook. And about December 10th, one of them called me up and they said, "Boy, we had a great weekend." I said, "Why? What do you mean?" They said, "Well, we bought the factory about 2/3 full of wreaths." You know, and here it is December the 10th. There's no market for wreaths on December 10th. Matter of fact, this is the 11th, right? Yeah. So anyway, I didn't know what I was going to do with them, and then I thought about Arlington because of when I was there as a paper boy, like it says here. But you know, it was going to be, I got to tell you too, she called me, she'd make a sailor blush when she found out I bought all those wreaths that we couldn't use. But anyway, so we decided that the best place to put them, if we could, would be at Arlington National Cemetery. It was going to be a one-time thing. I didn't plan on having any wreaths left over again, especially after the carding that I got from her. So
I told him another place to put them, by the way.
But so anyway, we got down there, and the administration of Arlington, they had evidently had a meeting. They said, gee, these guys are crazy, but we're going to allow them to do what they say they're going to do, place these wreaths on the graves. But we're not going to be so stupid to put them right out front. So they put us right in the very back corner of the cemetery. We were, oh, by the way, they had two guys watching us. They said, these guys, geez, we don't know what's going to happen. You keep an eye on them. So they had two guys with suits on. Every hour or so, they'd ride by, and we were putting the wreaths out. And, we had probably 4 or 5 acres worth of ground done. And finally, they got out. They said, who's in charge of this anyway? Somebody pointed at me. I was up on the hill. So these two guys walked up. And they said, well, how near have you got that truck unloaded? And I said, well, I think we're about halfway done. Well, one guy looked at the other guy and looked back at me, and he said, well, you know, who's going to clean up all these things? Well, I said, geez, I got to go back to Maine. I'd like to, but I just can't do it. Well, they looked at each other again. They shrugged their shoulders, you know, the way they went, and made me feel about that big. But anyway, we kept right on going. We were there. We were going to put them out. So we kept putting the wreaths out, and they kept driving by. Got all of them out. We put in the cardboard back in the truck, and they said, they walked up to me. They said, you know, these things look so good. Don't you worry about it. So that's why there was a second year. Then and we did, so I came back home. Karen, I don't let her go anywhere. You know, she stayed home. We were still, you know, we still had a little mopping up to do with the rest of the wreath season and so on. And somebody's got to do the work. I went down to Washington, somebody's got to do it, right? I told her, I said, that was so nice that we're going to continue to do that, you know, as long as we can. And here we are, 27 years later, still doing the same thing. Boy, I must be good. I'm getting these standing ovations and everything else. Wow, you're not going to get that, I'll tell you that. But anyway, so 27 years later, we're still doing it. But you go, oh, and by the way, the next 14 years, we did it 5,000 wreaths a year. On the end of our season, we'd make a special 5,000 wreaths. We didn't have them left over anymore. We made them specially for Arlington, and we took them down and placed them on the graves. So, but then if you look ahead to 2006, I think it was, is if you look at this program, that little picture is a photograph that was taken by a guy from the Pentagon that was over to Arlington just walking around. He happened to run across the area that we'd placed the wreaths, and it had snowed probably 2 inches. That's on the picture, as you can see. And then he put that on the internet, It just shows you the power of the internet, you know, that it went around the world. And you know, you wouldn't believe the emails that I got. By the way, I've only sent one email in my life. I got a brand new phone, you know, a text message actually. And I texted hi to a guy. Yeah, H-I. And that's it. So anyway, I got these emails, and what, maybe 4,000 or 5,000, right? And we had checks coming from everywhere. You wouldn't believe it. Reader's Digest version. She said, "Hey, it's not even dark yet. We're all right." But so we had checks that they were giving us and everything. We had to, because we weren't a nonprofit, we had to send them all back. I hated to, but we did. So, and then, no, it went on so that now there is Wreaths Across America. Back then it was the Arlington Wreath Project, we called it. But Wreaths Across America actually started in 2007. And they have their own board of directors. And they don't trust me to be on the board. And you can imagine why. But I'm the wreath maker. I'm just the wreath maker from Maine. So anyway, and by the way, they have a board of directors that are made up of 18 members. Wayne, right here, Wayne Hanson is the chairman of the board. You can see how hard up they are. No, Wayne is extremely good, he really is. But they're made up of people. Oh, whoa. This board they have is made up of, like I say, 18 members. And they're from all over the United States, professional people, military people. They really know what they're doing. They really do. They don't take anything from me. Again, I'm just the wreath maker, but I'll tell you one thing, I'm damn good at it. Wait just a minute. So, and you know, the thing is, there's a lot of wreaths to be made. This year, you know, we're going to be, actually, we're still making a few right now, not many, just about done. But it's about 1.8 million wreaths is what we'll be placing. Now, they put out an RFP, it's what you know, a bid package. Now listen, hold it a minute. And hold it just a second. Gee, man. But anyway, they have these specs that I have to meet. It has to be a wreath made from Maine balsam. It's got to weigh 3 pounds at least, or thereabouts. It's got to be free from any diseases or parasites and all that. And I do it all. I really do. If you look at the average company in Maine, by the way, I want this contract for a long time. Now, whether I get it or not, probably after this speech, I won't get it. But I really do. The average wreath company in Maine produces 2,500 wreaths a year. We actually produce about 60,000 a day. Now, just a second. Is there any security around here? But you know, and I won't go too much longer, but so, and you know, the top 5 companies in Maine, they only produce an average of about 40 to 50,000 in a whole season. And the biggest company, other than Worcester Wreath Company, produces about 200,000 wreaths in a whole season. You know, it takes us 3 days to do that. So, and by the way, they use Canadian balsam. So just can't do it. So anyway, if they want to get rid of me, go right ahead. They don't dare to. One more thing. Is now I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Oh, you know, down the road, you say, well, where's this all going to go? What? You wait. 1 second. Where's it all going to go? Well, you know, I'm going to, my personal goal is to place a wreath on every single American veteran's grave, regardless of where it is in the world. Every year. We're going to do it every year. So, this officer, as you can see, is bigger than I am, and I better give it up.
Oh, my word. I was looking to this. I prepared 2 prayers, sister. One was for forgiveness, and the other was for thanks, and I don't even know which to ask for, so if you could please pray. Okay, I have nothing to say other than that. I really don't. You know, people that know me, I'm never at a loss for words. But anyway, thank you for having us. This has been an incredible stop. And the best thing for me is to see all the kids. And I know we have to get on the road. So thank you again. This community certainly knows how to follow the mission, and we appreciate that. Go, Branford! Woo! Thank you.
This concludes the 2018 Wreaths Across America ceremony. On behalf of all of us up here and all in the convoy, thank you for attending. We want to thank Chevrolet again for their assistance in the convoy and sponsoring the convoy. We're going to be having the retiring of the colors. Those cameras are going to have to move. After retiring of the colors, Chief Janine Roberts, the convoy commander, is going to come up and just give you a little bit of direction on how we're going to leave the place. The convoy is going to pull out. We're going to be in their way, so just listen to what she tells you. So just remain in place after the retiring of the colors. And now please rise for the retiring of the colors.